This episode of Last Lap is brought to you in association with Orwell Truck and Van.co.uk.
Hello and welcome to the British Truck Racing Association Super Prix here at the Snetterton 300 race circuit. Things have been pretty exciting so far this season, but now the capacity crowd at Snetterton is going to be given a taste of motorsport, heavyweight style.
Pole position is Steve Thomas with Richard Collett on his outside, and they're coming down into Montreal. Thomas looking on the inside, Collett in the outside line. Is he going to be able to hang on to this? Surely Thomas is going to go through. Collett gets it all sideways. If he can hang on to the momentum, he'll have a good run down into Palmer. But Thomas has got the run. He'll go round into the left-hander in lead position. David Jenkins running in black, the MAN in black, in third place after his first wins on our last outing. That was at Donington Park a few weeks ago. Thomas leads them around towards the bomb hole with Richard Collett still running second. Championship leader Matt Summerfield in third. Then it's Dave Jenkins. Division 2 led by David Smith. 14 wins so far for Smith. It looks like he's going to add to that this weekend. Number 11 Foden Alpha performing well. Richard Collett comes under pressure though from the third place truck as they go down the straight. More action in Class B. Simon Reed putting pressure at the moment on Jim Bennett in 28. Lots of noise and smoke to keep the crowds entertained here on day one of our two-day meeting. And Matt Summerfield past Collett. Summerfield past Collett. David Jenkins shaping up to be the next fast. Back in fifth position as they go down the Bentley Straight is multi-champion Stuart Oliver. But for his fifth win of the year, it's Steve Thomas who takes the flag. Matt Summerfield in second. A good healthy win. 5 seconds between Steve Thomas and Matt Summerfield. David Smith on his way to a win in Class 2, but this is the scrap between Brian Burt and Simon Reed. They're going to take third and fourth respectively in class. So Thomas from Summerfield, David Jenkins in third from Stuart Oliver, Richard Collett in fifth from Ben Horn. First of the Division 2 boys is David Smith from Steve Powell, Brian Burt and Simon Reed.
What a great race. You actually made that look very easy.
Yeah, it wasn't as easy as it looked. I got pole position and I got a good start, so I ended up getting out in front, and I had Rick on my tail for a couple of laps, which was holding Matt Summerfield. I don't know how far I was away in front, but yeah, quite a good way I think.
First place, good for championship points, and what's the plan for the rest of the weekend?
Well, hopefully carry on getting first, or yeah, if I'm getting the top three. I've jumped ahead of Rick Collett now in the championship points, so it's put me back up to third, so I'm happy with that.
The championship keenly fought between the drivers. Look at this machinery coming down the centre straight with Ben Horn on pole position. The two groups of trucks making enough noise for the whole of Norfolk combined. I better not talk too loudly about that because the residents might complain. Matt Summerfield looking to add to his tally of wins, but in the early stages, 69, the MAN in black, David Jenkins, who picked up the winning habit again at Donington, is out front from Steve Thomas. Now coming under pressure is Stuart Oliver. Richard Collett in 95 with some work, really being put under pressure by Simon Reed, who's running well in Division 2. Union flag on the side of Steve Powell's truck, looks absolutely superb. Leaders across the line once again. Ben Horn having lost a few positions from his front row start, but working the MAN TGA hard, as too is Matt Summerfield, the MAN TGS, looking for lead position, dicing hard with David Jenkins. Coming out of Agostini, Summerfield, I tell you, a pass in a car is difficult there, but in a truck even more so. But Summerfield goes through. Jenkins in second, Steve Thomas in third place. They head down towards Hamilton. Thomas challenging for second, Jenkins grabbing the line that he wants as they go through Oggies and towards the back straight once again. Steve Powell still dicing for the lead in Division 2. David Smith working hard as well to try and take the win, but up front Matt Summerfield takes the overall win and Division 1. David Jenkins second with Steve Thomas in third. Summerfield from Jenks, Thomas, Oliver in fourth, Richard Collett fifth, Ben Horn in sixth place. David Smith wins Division 2 from Steve Powell and Brian Burt. Fastest laps for Matt Summerfield and David Smith, the winners.
So Steve, what a great battle that was, and you and Dave Smith nip and tuck.
Yeah, it was a very good race. It's about time someone's given him a bit of competition. He's had it all his own way recently, so. But he had a coming together with Simon up on the hairpin, which let me go up the inside of him. But I've got a little bit of problem with the splitter on it, so he was catching and catching and catching. But it was a good race, very good race.
Now, Snetterton's quite a testing track, long straights, ultimate, flat out speeds most of the time.
Yeah, it's a long race, like 2.5 minutes a lap, and even though it's only 7 laps, it seems like an eternity. But it's good because you've got all the complex and that, which is really, really good, and the long straight. So it's quite enjoyable now, actually. I didn't really like it last season, but it's growing on me now. So.
Well, second in Class B coming into this meeting was Jim Bennett, but the first 2 races, Jim, you weren't here. You were doing something quite special instead.
Oh yes, I'm a member of East Coast Truckers, and for the last 24 years, for the last 28 years, I've been in a convoy. We give disadvantaged children and disabled children hopefully a day of their lifetime, and lost my division place, but missing 2 races was worth it for the pleasure we can give the children.
That's a man I really like. You're battling for the championship, and yet you know where your heart really lies. I like that.
Too true. It's the kids are important.
And this is the whole part. This is the whole ethos of the championship as a whole. It is a spectator sport. You all give things back to your fans, and I guess that's just another pure example of that.
But yeah, it's obviously the racing is a little bit different in the convoy, but we like to entertain the crowds, and we rely on the crowds to give us support.
Ben Horn and Richard Collett on the front row of the grid for our third race of the weekend. You can see all the pit lane garages shut. Safety precautions absolutely important for big truck racing. And here we go. So are we going to see a result here from Ben Horn? Let's have a look as they go down towards Riches for the first time. Ben Horn is passed by Richard Collett. Horn second. Here comes Stuart Oliver up into third. The man in black and Matt Summerfield side by side. Steve Thomas is in the mix as well. So Stuart Oliver manages to get into second position. Ben Horn's dropped down the order. Richard Collett and Stuart Oliver round the outside at Palmer. This is brave stuff from Stuart Oliver. And he goes side by side here with 95 Ricky Collett. This is the view on board from Collett and Oliver. Collett's given him room, to be fair. But Collett loses second position, and multi-champion Stuart Oliver goes through into the lead, down to Agostini. He's driving a defensive line as well. Actually, no, Collett's going through the attack round the outside. Matt Summerfield in third. Surely he's going to get second place here. Summerfield comes up the inside. Collett did leave the door open. I think he fancied his chances on the outside line. That was massively spectacular for the spectators who sit on the raised banks. You can see loads of them in the background. There's so many spectator opportunities here at Snetterton Circuit. Through Oggies, but he's not given up the ghost. Collett still second. Matt Summerfield comes back up the inside. Now coming into Williams. This leads them onto the back straight, the Bentley straight, and muscling his way through is Summerfield. Collett's off on the dirt. Keep it going, keep it going. He's down to fourth. He's down to 5th. Steve Thomas has gone through as well. Ricky Collett certainly giving the crowd some entertainment here, but the race leader Stuart Oliver down into Brundle from Matt Summerfield, then David Jenkins in black, Steve Thomas, Richard Collett in 5th. 6th position is Ben Horn. Ben still trying to get to grips with what I think is an immaculate livery on that gold truck. Ben Horn down in 6th position at the moment. It looks like he might be able to take the battle to Richard Collett. I think as this race progresses, it's just 7 laps of the Snetterton circuit. You heard the guys saying it's 2.5 minutes lap. It's a long time for the spectators to wait for these machines to come through. But when they do, boy, do they get a blast. Race leaders along centre straight once again. Stuart Oliver looking to take another win here. He's had 1 win so far in the championship this year. We're going to go back and have a look at the Division 2 trucks, still very much engaged in their battle. David Smith, of course, the man to beat in that class. And Oliver gets it all sideways at the hairpin. This is going to allow Matt Summerfield to close up. Well, Summerfield's closed the gap. He's still the fastest man on circuit. He's lapping in 2 minutes 27. The Division 2 truck's lapping in the 2 minutes 30, so a big performance differential. This track, I think, probably more than the others, more difficult to pass on. Summerfield all over the multi-champion, the reigning champion, a championship leader, looks to the outside line. This is an unorthodox way of trying to pass here at Snet. He's going to have a look up the inside. We'll see if he can do it after the break. Welcome back to Snetterton. You rejoin the battle for the lead, and as you can see, Matt Summerfield still trying that outside line, but Stuart Oliver's wise to most of it through the bomb hole. David Jenkins in 3rd place, then it's Steve Thomas back in 4th. Richard Collett not losing too much ground at the moment in 5th position. Hear the squeal of the tyres as they go around Coram, the sweeping right-hander, and Summerfield's placing his truck up the inside. Summerfield challenging, but there's not room. Stuart Oliver maintains the race lead now into the very tight 90-degree corner at Murray's. You can't see it from our camera angle, but it's a tight corner. David Jenkins coming up in the mix as well. Matt Summerfield still fastest on circuit. Let's see what he can do as we go back and check out Steve Rothery racing in 29. This is his truck racing debut. He's more used to racing in saloon cars, the Kent-based Saloon Car Championship. There's Brian Burt, the Bristolian in the Volvo White, very popular truck, being the bonneted variety, taking us back, of course, to the early days of truck racing, and it's a wonderful piece of kit. Meanwhile, at the front, Matt Summerfield has got through into the lead. He's looking for his 14th win of the year. 3 of those have been class wins, where we've seen the Division 2 truck starting in front. Massive battle on for 2nd place. Stuart Oliver still there from David Jenkins in black. Steve Thomas in 4th, but Matt Summerfield getting away with it so far as they go down the Bentley Straight. Brian Burt looking for his first class win in the Volvo White, so this is looking pretty handy for him. Ricky Collett still trying to close them down, but Stuart Oliver, I think, knows at the moment he hasn't got much to answer Matt Summerfield. The Burton-on-Trent race are still out front in the MAN. Started racing back in 1999, so he's got a fair bit of truck experience. Been racing in Europe. Stuart Oliver, of course, has been there, done that. Probably had quite a few T-shirts in the mix as well of the championships, but it's good to have him in the championship here. He's going to continue to battle hard for 2nd position as they go. Black and white driving standards flag. Last lap goes out. Not sure who the driving standards comes through. Haven't seen anything thus far on the timing. But into riches for the last time. Summerfield leads. Stuart Oliver not too far adrift. Then David Jenkins. Oliver really could probably do without Jenkins in his mirrors to try and fight back. Here's Simon Reed in 89, one of the front runners in Division 2, having a good run. As you can see, 2nd position in class. Brian Burt looking for his first class win of the year. had several second places, including one at Donington Park last time out, and it looks like he's going to take that. He really is on the way. The Reed freight truck chasing him down. Simon Reed, of course, has taken 2 class wins this year. Battle on for second position. Dave Jenkins goes to the outside. This leaves the door open. Steve Thomas trying to go up the inside, but having a job turning it around out of the exit of Agostini. Richard Collett trying to give chase to the HGV direct truck behind him, but still it's Stuart Oliver hanging on to second. Dave Jenkins was looking bravely round the outside. This is the view across from the Bentley straight onto the infield section. The infield section really giving the drivers a chance to come back here and race at Snetterton, because it gives them all a bit of a breather from the 2 long straights that were here on the old part of on the old configuration circuit several years ago. And this, as you heard in the interviews, the 2nd year that trucks have been here, and wherever the trucks go we pull in a massive crowd. It's such a great show. So check out the BTRA website to find out when we're in your particular neck of the woods. We've got 2 rounds remaining this year. Pembrey in October, followed by the big fireworks meeting at Brands Hatch in November. It looks, I was going to say, like things were settled, but having a good go here is Steve Thomas. 3rd place line is covered into Coram by Dave Jenkins. He doesn't want to go too wide, gets his truck over towards the halfway point on the track to defend 3rd position. I think Jenkins is possibly going to hang on to it. But the 14th win of the year for championship leader Matt Summerfield. Summerfield taking his 2nd win of the meeting. It was 2nd and fastest lap in the opening race on day 1, 1st and fastest lap on race 2 of the weekend, and he gets fastest lap and another win across the line. Oliver 2nd, Jenkins 3rd, and Steve Thomas in 4th. Division 1 is going to go to Brian Burt. Well done to the Bristol-based driver who takes his 1st win of the year, and the full championship points that go with that. This is the battle. Here comes Burt, but having said that, have I spoken too soon? Simon Reed's closing in. It's going to be about the run along centre straight to the checkered flag. Burt manages to power the Volvo White over the Sen and Atkinson, and there's the checker. White takes it. The White takes it. Brian Burt, Simon Reed in 2nd from Steve Rothery in 3rd. So win for Summerfield from Oliver, Jenkins in 3rd from Thomas and Collett, Ben Horn 6th, and Division 2 to Brian Burt from Simon Reed, Steve Rothery and John Powell. 11th place goes to Jim Bennett, and fastest laps for Matt Summerfield and Simon Reed.
I'm joined on the starting grid here by the great British public. It's a one-off for this particular meeting, and it's a very nice little grid walk, so the British public get their opportunity to meet the stars of the championship. Let's see if we can find some of the drivers who made a name for themselves in the last race. Dave, sorry to cut in. Brilliant 3rd race there. Not quite the 1st position that you were after, but certainly more to come from you.
Yeah, hopefully so. We've made some massive improvements with the truck over the last few meetings. We've really been on the back foot for the last 18 months, really, one way or the other. And we've done some testing, made some improvements, made some changes, and I'm a lot happier with the truck now. I'm able to race it now instead of sit in it like I have been doing. So it's nice. Like Donington last weekend, we had a couple of wins, beat Matt there, so he is beatable. Well, and today I probably had the best seat in the house to watch him and Stuart. So I'm sure my onboard footage is going to make some good viewing when we get home tonight.
Stuart, me old mate.
How are we doing? You all right?
That was quite an exciting race you gave us last time out. So talk us through it from your point of view.
That's right. Well, the start was, it was just a gift, really. I had a good start. I had 2 on my left-hand side and Ben in front, and I managed to get up alongside him around the outside of him on the first corner, and I was away. I thought I had it in the bag, but. Same old story, just that the power is just not quite competitive. But it was a good race right till the second last lap, and then Matt made a slight move up the inside on going into the first one, and that was it. I had to settle for second, but it was really good. Really enjoyed it.
Matt, just while you're signing, am I able to come in? A brilliant little battle that you had there with Stuart Oliver in that one, chasing him down. Did you know you always had it in the tank?
He's to be fair to Stuart, he's he's a long experienced racer. He's a good racer, and he's he knows exactly where to slow me down, to to like hold me up or whatever, and then where to place the truck so I can't get by, and he's it was just a case of just keep working on it, and then there was a small window of opportunity, and I had to just take it really, else would have just been following him across the line.
Brian, fantastic performance today. That was a fantastic race, and that's actually your first win of 2013 in the class, despite the fact you're leading the championship.
Yeah, it felt real good as well. Like as I say, the first one of the season, and I hope to have a few more.
Well, is that the trend that you're going to be setting for the rest of the afternoon? Is it going to be as straightforward as that, or is there a lot more to do on this racetrack today?
Yeah, with Dave Smith having the fortunate of probably not being out in the last one in this one, I need to go as quick as I can now to get as many points to stay in front of him. Then probably Pembury and Brands, when we get to, we can take it a little bit easy and just keep him behind me. Hopefully we could secure the championship, but there's still a long way to go yet.
Well, joining me now is Peter Letcher, the sales director for Orwell Truck and Van, one of the supporters of this championship, in particular here today. What have you got out of this weekend? I mean, the Super Prix has been a fantastic spectacle for the championship, but how has it affected your business?
I think it's lovely. It's the first time we've done an event like this. We normally concentrate on the Norfolk and Suffolk shows, but because we represent, the Mercedes brand throughout East Anglia, it's just a fantastic event. I didn't actually realise it was such a family event, and it's just lovely to see young children and people just enjoying themselves.
Now, Orwell Truck and Van as a company, you've got some very innovative ideas. You're going in quite unique directions.
We've got we offer the whole range now of the Mercedes-Benz product, right down from the small Citan van up to our flagship, which is the Actros, and with 4 sites, Ipswich, Norwich, Colchester and Newmarket. We offer a coverage and a full service cradle to grave for all our customers.
This is the 26th race of the 2013 British Truck Racing Association Championship season. Ben Horn and Richard Collett on the front row of the grid, down into Riches for the first time. Are we going to see Collett go for the burn up round the outside? He's done it already. Down into second place goes Ben Horn, up into second place. Past him on the corner. Oh, and off goes Matt Summerfield. Summerfield's off the circuit. The championship leader makes a mistake at turn 1. He's been punished for that. So it's Collett up front, Dave Jenkins in second. Third position is Steve Thomas, who's come through from third on the grid. So look now at the number 1 truck. He's got a lot of work to do. Past the 28 of Jim Bennett, on board with Matt, past Steve Rothery. So past the Division 2 trucks, we'd expect him to be able to do that, but it's Richard Collett leading. Stuart Oliver kicking up some dust there into the competition. Wonder if he's got a James Bond switch in the car that could do that, or in the truck I should say. Down through Agostini, he's challenging hard. Ben Horn still in 5th. Matt Summerfield up into 6th position, now ahead of John Powell in truck number 6. Side by side out of Agostini, loads of work to do for Brian Burt, as you heard, the man now leading the championship. View back from Matt Summerfield, and what a terrific view that is. It gives you an idea of the speed. When you're looking at the outside cameras, sometimes the trucks don't look that fast, but the onboards, let me tell you, really do convey the speed, what these guys are doing. Summerfield the fastest man of the meeting so far, but as you've seen, even champions have their problems. We'll see if he can work his way through the field after this break. Welcome back to Snetterton, and it's the anti-penultimate event of the British Truck Racing Association Championship, and the penultimate race of the weekend. Race leader is Richard Collett, but Steve Thomas is putting pressure on second place man Dave Jenkins. The trucks are running along the centre straight, a slight climb, and then down towards the first corner at Riches. Collett leading, hasn't had a win so far this year. A big character is Richard Collett, based in Halifax. Fleet engineer of the family transport company. He's been racing since 1992 and a former champion. So he leads it. The Division 2 boys very much involved in their battle. Simon Reed going through ahead of Steve Rothery, but Graham Powell out front. 1 win so far already this year. John Powell behind him, so it's ERF leading Ford Cargo. Around turn 1, down towards the Montreal hairpin. But here's the view of the race leaders, who are already making their way down towards Agostini. Richard Collett, if he keeps a wide line, that's over to the left of shot. That's not that defensive. David Jenkins a couple of lengths back. David Thomas looking round the outside. If you watch car racing here at Snetterton on this infield part, you're really looking at teeing your opponent up to look down the inside. It is doable on the outside, but the traditional way is down the inside line and have a little bit of a lunge. These trucks, though, of course, are big machines to haul up. Graham Powell, 55, still leading Division 2. The Aylesford-based driver, Aylesford in Kent, that is, to make the distinction. John Powell running in second place at the moment, but we go back to Matt Summerfield, who had that off on the first corner. He's starting to work his way back through the field, and he's got the multi-champion to contend with first of all. Coming down the Bentley Straight, one of the longest straights in British motor racing. I think very much the longest straight these trucks have to deal with. Summerfield tees him up. He's gone down on the inside. Collett's, beg your pardon, Oliver's got the inside line though for the next corner. He doesn't want to cede the place. Matt Summerfield being forced off onto the dirt, and Oliver's having none of it. You're not coming past, matey. And the MAN being made to work. This is really great stuff for the crowd. There's a huge crowd around the outside of those corners, and they're enjoying Richard Collett getting away. Still David Jenkins second. Third place is Steve Thomas. So Matt Summerfield with some work to do. I'm not sure if he's going to have time to cut his way through the field. He's got the fastest lap on lap 2. I think that was a little bit of a red mist lap. 2:28.054. These trucks are averaging nearly 75 miles an hour around here. They're capped at 100 down the straights for safety reasons. Now Summerfield's still trying to get past Stuart Oliver. They're side by side as they come into the corner. Driving standards flag going out again, and once again nothing coming out. I think this might be for track limits. MSV circuits don't like their lovely grass ripped up, and of course these big trucks are going to do a fair bit of damage if they go off the racing line. There's Steve Rothery leading from Brian Burt. Rothery at the moment fourth in class. Brian Burt fifth, and trying to pick up the points, but still Richard Collett leading side by side for second. Steve Thomas goes to the outside, goes for the cutback. That's a real race car move by Steve Thomas. Stuart Oliver still in front. You can hear probably in the background the crowd clapping at the racing that's being put on by these drivers. Matt Summerfield again trying to chase, going into Hamilton. The left-hand king, then it's the right-hander at Oggies, the first of two right-handers. And look at the bravery of Summerfield. Outside line, can't go through. They've got the faster trucks here, of course, running at the front of the pack this weekend. Snetterton a little bit narrower than Brands. Back to Division 2. Graham Powell looking for his second win of the year, running well. Simon Reed chasing John Powell into Agostini. John's got a bit of breathing space at the moment, a couple of lengths. So as we've seen, catching's one thing, passing quite another. Here comes Summerfield. Powers his way through the bomb hole and nips through. What a brilliant manoeuvre by the champion, Matt Summerfield, past multi-champion Stuart Oliver, who had no answer for that. Summerfield literally picked his moment, punched his way through at the bomb hole, and exactly the right place to entertain a huge crowd that's on the outside of the circuit there. Oliver's not given up, closes in under braking as they go through Murray's. Onto centre straight, hopefully nobody's going to peel off into the pit lane, they don't. Richard Collett onto the last lap. David Jenkins back in third place, I beg your pardon. Steve Thomas is there in second and looking for another win if he can get it. Thomas, of course, won the opening race of the meeting, looking for a double. Jenkins goes wide. Richard Collett, though, he's going to be hearing all sorts of noises going on in the truck here, and goes wide, and Thomas is coming through. He's got the outside line as they come down to Palmer's. He's going to try and cut across on the outside of the left-hander. He's on the wrong side of the track. Collett we saw do some clean fair racing here earlier on, and Collett squeezing his way back up. Still side by side, and Collett's got the line down into Agostini. Thomas working hard. David Jenkins in third, and Collett's fending him off for the moment, and he's got the inside line. Hard on the brakes. Is the back end going to come round? Thomas is still chasing, but now David Jenkins is in the mix as well. Positions 1 and 2, racing hard, and this is allowing Jenkins to come into the mix. Thomas has got the inside at Hamilton, but Collett knows if he can hang on here, he'll have the inside line for Oggies and Williams. But Jenkins is going to try and follow him through. David Jenkins. This is genius driving from Jenkins, who now reckons he's got a chance at maybe going for the lead. Thomas sticking to his guns on the outside. Jenkins on the inside as they come onto the Bentley straight. Thomas now, if he's got more grub, will have the inside line as they come on to braking. And you can see Jenkins now is siding with the white and red truck because he knows that's the racing line as they come down into Brundle. Matt Summerfield's up into fourth. Into Brundle, now coming round into Nelson. Collett's still there. This is great racing from Steve Thomas, but Thomas gets out on the dirt. Jenkins is through, and Summerfield's coming through as well. Steve Thomas deserves more than that. He's off on the dirt again as Summerfield grabs the tarmac that he wants, and from second, from challenging for the lead, down to fourth for Steve Thomas on the last lap. Can David Jenkins now close in on Richard Collett, who's out front? The HDV Direct truck is out front. He's negotiated Murray's along the straight. Jenkins is having a run. Look at this. Jenkins is coming up towards him. Who's going to take the checkered flag? It's Richard Collett, another new winner. First time winner for this year, with David Jenkins in second place. Matt Summerfield, what a recovery drive from him. Fourth position, Steve Thomas. Superb attacking stuff from him as well. That's what truck racing is all about, and the fans absolutely loving it here at Snetterton. But there's still a Division 2 battle, and it's Graham Powell who takes his second win of the year. John Powell in the Senate Atkinson comes through in second, and Simon Reed in third. We're seeing the winners all being jumbled up this weekend. Richard Collett takes the win. Matt Summerfield fastest lap and third place. Ahead of him Dave Jenkins, behind him Steve Thomas, Stuart Oliver and Ben Horn. Division 2 to Graham Powell, John Powell in second from Simon Reed, and then Steve Rothery, Brian Birch in 11th place and Jim Bennett 12th. Fastest laps as confirmed to Summerfield and Graham Powell in Division 2.
Well, Richard, any win is very, very satisfying indeed, but that one must have been just that little bit more so.
Oh yeah, brilliant. It's my first one this season. It's been a long time coming, and to battle off Dave and Steve as I did, really great. The last lap where I were on 10 trucks, I just keep thinking, keep it on the straight and we'll be all right. And I got pushed really wide by Steve into the last corner at the bomb hole there. But he left me enough room and I got round, and unfortunately I didn't leave enough room for Steve, and he was out on the grass.
So I think you're going to remember this one for quite a long time, aren't you?
Oh yeah, very good, yeah.
So with me in the pit lane is Steve Rothery. Steve, it's been an entertaining weekend so far for you, but there's been a bit of musical chairs in this truck as well, hasn't there?
Yeah, Steve Powell started off the weekend, and I was just lucky enough to get a drive for this Monday. I've got 3 races today.
Now, what was the reason behind that? Was it you couldn't quite string everything together for the 5 races? What was the reason behind it?
Well, we was finished off in the Quaife Motorsport in the Clio, so we had Saturday, Sunday racing at Brands, and then drive straight up here for the Monday to race the truck.
So you've had a fairly hectic weekend already?
Yeah, it's been a bit busy, yeah, it's definitely a different style of driving for sure.
On to our 5th race of the weekend, race number 27 of the 2013 Championship. You're on board with Matt Summerfield, lining up 4th on the grid. Ahead of him Ben Horn and Stuart Oliver. Lights on, lights off very quickly. Let's see whether Stuart Oliver is going to do the burn up around the outside. No need, he's already in front, but there's contact with Matt Summerfield and Steve Thomas, I think that was. But Summerfield muscles his way through into second. Richard Collett third, Steve Thomas following through. David Jenkins. Jenks gets the wheel on the dirt. Brian Burt is behind him, and I think leading class on board with Steve Powell on the 54 truck coming up into Montreal. These are wonderful shots that you've got from these trucks. Up ahead of us, Jim Bennett side by side with John Powell in 6, and they go wide and leave the door open. What a great example of how the racing can open up for you in the big trucks. But coming down the road, Stuart Oliver leads this one. Matt Summerfield, after a great recovery drive in the first race of the weekend, is up to second. I wonder if he's got a damaged truck there. Richard Collett running in third, but Stuart Oliver out front. They used to call the team Oliver's Army. He's still got a huge following, which we could call the same. Getting bundled out there was David Smith in the 11. Now look how the recovery compromises the speed. Steve Powell tries to get on terms with him. That was actually a very quick recovery, quicker than I thought it was going to be from David Smith. The Division 1 trucks though still there. I've got to say the decision to run the Div 1 boys at the front spreads the field out a little bit. We're not getting the Div 1 boys coming through the Div 2s, but it is giving the fans here a little bit more truck time to look at, if that makes sense, because there are more trucks going around. The elapsed time of beginning to end of field going round is longer. Stuart Oliver leading here at Snetterton. Join us after the break for more. Welcome back to part 4 of Last Lap, the British Truck Racing Association Championship meeting at Snetterton, and we're with the Division 1 trucks. You can see a cracking scrap on for the lead. Stuart Oliver from Matt Summerfield, Ben Horn there in 6th place, and we go back to the leading driver in Division 1. It's Simon Reed out front at the moment. 55, Graham Powell took his second win of the year in race number 4 of the weekend. Brian Burt busy chasing him. There's Steve Powell in 54. Steve Powell in 54 having a good nibble as well. Some good podium positions for Steve so far this weekend. At the moment, David Smith, who's been the most successful driver in the championship, 9 wins in the first half of the season alone before he got to Donington Park. Took a complete lockout at Donington of 5 wins and won the first 2 races of our meeting here. Division 2 guys then heading their way down the Bentley Straight. David Smith about to put Brian Burt. This is significant in terms of championship position. Smith down the inside of Burt. Is he going to be able to nip through? He's a little bit too far back at the moment, so the bonneted truck leading the cab over out of Brundle down towards the bomb hole. These guys have got to be so careful. You can see once you get a wheel out on the dirt, it may be a little bit tempting for the guys to do it. If you go too far, it can throw the back end around and lose you a shed load of places. Here comes Smith again, looks at the inside line. Hard on the brakes, and that was textbook pass by David Smith, but up front it's still Oliver from Summerfield. This is a great track to see some defensive and, of course, to correspond with that, attacking driving. We saw one of the best truck races of the year for my money, race 4, the one we just had, and we're on again here. Matt Summerfield looks first to the inside, goes to the outside line up to Montreal. Stuart Oliver is wise to that. Now what's Oliver do? We've seen trucks look pretty handy around the outside at Palmer. A little bit of a bumpy, bouncy moment there for Richard Collett in 3rd place. He's got Jenkins all over the back of him. Jenkins must be wondering what he can do to get past the Halifax-based man at the moment. Jenkins from Stone in Staffordshire. Here come the leaders though. Oliver, look at it, keeping it tight. In a car, you'd probably lose a lot of speed there, but inside line in the truck, exactly what Stuart Oliver needs to do. The others closing up. Steve Thomas in 33 in 5th position at the moment. Might be handy to pick a few off, but when you've got someone like Jenks in front of you and Richard Collett as well, then your work's really going to be cut out. Back to Richard Collett then, race 4 winner, first of the year as you heard, and he was absolutely delighted with that, and the atmosphere down in the winners lane was absolutely superb. Such a popular guy. This is the scrap for the Division 2 lead. You can see the 1 leaders over the other side of the track, so the Div 2 boys not losing too much time. Still Reed and Powell very much hard at it. Now David Jenkins looking on the outside line of Richard Collett. This could be a new overtake here. Back we go with Matt Summerfield. Is going to go the long way round into Brundle. Can he get it done? That was very brave stuff from Matt Summerfield. That just goes to show you he's just having to try absolutely everything to get past Stuart Oliver, and he can't do it as Collett's off on the dirt. Dave Jenkins is through, Thomas is through, Collett down to 5th. The winner of the previous race now finds himself at the wrong end of the top 5, and with a bit of work to do, he'll maybe have Ben Horn for company in a minute. So these monster machines around Coram once again. Jenkins up to 3rd, so podium looming for Jenkins here. Steve Thomas, more importantly, looming in his mirrors, and Richard Collett's not given up the ghost yet either. Loses a couple of lengths there. Back down the order, John Powell and Brian Burt having a good old scrap here. John Powell in the Ford Cargo. You've got to say there's a little bit more variety in the trucks in Division 2. The MAN seems to be the machine to have, not only for European racing, but here in Division 1, the top class. And that takes nothing away from the variety and action we've seen. Of course, lots of different winners in Division 2 this year as well. Still, the battle for the lead is on. A real game of cat and mouse. It's a job to know where to focus the cameras here, because you've got battles going on all the way. And at the moment, this is the third place scrap. David Jenkins, the MAN in black, leading Steve Thomas. Thomas working hard, took the win in the first race of the weekend. Here comes Matt Summerfield having a look again. Thomas's 5th win of the year. He took in the first part of this meeting. Stuart Oliver still there. Masterly defence from Oliver so far. Good attacking stuff from Summerfield. He's keeping it all clean thus far. Dave Jenkins is there. 33, Steve Thomas has now got himself up into 3rd position. Here come the Division 2 runners. Looking at them from Agostini. Still out front is Graham Powell. Is he going to get a 3rd win here? This is looking very good. He's got down behind him Simon Reed with David Smith, who's been absolutely electric this year. Smith again trying to put the pressure on. Back with the race leaders. Steve Thomas, fastest lap, 2 minutes 28.070 for the 3rd place truck. So he's done something to the machine between race 4 and 5, and he's absolutely electric here. He's closing up. He wants another win for sure. So Thomas closing up on the lead pair. Stuart Oliver still out front. Don't bet against Oliver. He knows how to defend, just as Richard Collett did in the first race of the race before this. Here comes Summerfield again, teeing up on the outside line, down across the line onto the last lap. Summerfield going wide into Riches, but it's Stuart Oliver on the inside line. Steve Thomas is giving chase in 3rd position. Now what's he going to do? Is he going to pop up the inside as they go down into the hairpin? He's keeping it wide at the moment. Dave Smith's delivered the goods and come through into 2nd position ahead of Simon Reed in Division 2. Reed in red tries to fight back through the bomb hole. We've got a cracking scrap on for 2nd, and still Graham Powell out front to Division 2, but it's all gone pear-shaped up front. Matt Summerfield clouts the barrier. Stuart Oliver is now the clear leader, and Richard Collett has come through into 2nd place. Great piece of opportunism for Richard Collett into 2nd ahead of Thomas. Dave Jenkins down to 4th, and Matt Summerfield in 5th. Summerfield now, you can see, is furious about that. Big tail out from him. There's the Division 2 leader, Graham Powell. Powell onto the last lap ahead of David Smith. Through Riches, down to Montreal. He's got a good lead, has Graham Powell. So it looks like it is going to be a 3rd win. But as we've seen from the Division 1 runners, anything could happen on the last lap. Richard Collett goes all defensive again. Last time out it was to defend the lead. This time it's defend 2nd. This has been a great meeting for Ricky Collett. First win of the year. It looks like another podium, but it's going to be a 2nd win of the season for Stuart Oliver. The fans here have seen different winners in the trucks this weekend. That underlines the competitive nature of the BTRA Championship. Stuart Oliver, the multi-champion, back on the top step of the podium. Where's the checker? There it is. Oliver takes the win. Look at the battle for 2nd place, going down to the line and just getting it is Richard Collett by 0.2 of a second from Stevie Thomas. Oliver the winner, Richard Collett then 2nd, Steve Thomas gets fastest lap and 3rd, Jenkins 4th, Matt Summerfield 5th from Ben Horn. Graham Powell's win in Division 2 ahead of David Smith, who gets fastest lap. Simon Reed in 9th. And 3rd in class from Steve Powell, John Powell, Brian Burt and Jim Bennett in 13th.
Well, Stuart, the last race of the day, and you nailed it. That was a real tough battle, wasn't it?
It certainly was, yeah. You know, I knew right from the start it was going to be hard going, you know, because of what we'd done in the races before. But, you know, I thought, well, I knew where their weak points were, I knew where my strong points were, so it was just a case of just making sure they were at the right place at the right time, and it paid off, and that we got there.
And you couldn't really have picked a better race in the day, the last one of the day of the Super Prix, the big event with all your fans around you. That's the sweetest way to do it, isn't it?
Oh, it's sweet, perfect. Like you say, it's fantastic. It's great atmosphere, great weather, great circuit. You can't ask for any more.
Well, behind Stuart Oliver in the last race of the day, Richard Collett and Steve Thomas after a gripping battle side by side across the line. You must have enjoyed that, mustn't you?
Oh, it was great. A bit opportunist, but brilliant all the same.
And Steve, you very nearly had him right at the very end there, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I was trying to get a good drive out of the last corner onto start-finish straight, and when I seen that I was catching Richard, I thought, keep it in there, but I had another half a gear to go, so I thought I couldn't change, and then once we got both up to 100 mile an hour, there's no way of passing him then. So, but that was a good race, absolutely fantastic race.
And the great thing about it is you're both out of the trucks and you're both smiling very broadly indeed. You've had a lot of fun out there, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been brilliant. As I say, opportunist, but everyone counts.
And next time out, is there going to be something more than perhaps a third position for you, Steve? Are we going to get the win this time?
Well, I did have a win yesterday, so which was great. But everyone's so competitive. There's the top 4 or 5 which are competitive, so it's more fun. Because if Rick gets past or Dave gets past, then it's hard to get back past them again. So, been some good racing this weekend and pretty fair, really.
Well, good to see that you've each taken a win this weekend. Let's hope you get another one next time. Take care, guys.
Cheers.
Matt Summerfield still in charge with David Jenkins snapping away at his heels in second place. Richard Collett third from Steve Thomas and Stuart Oliver in fifth. The absent Luke Taylor sixth. In Division 2, Brian Burt from Jim Bennett and David Smith. Simon Reed in fourth. Sets us up for a wonderful end to the season. Pembrey and Brands.
Well, the second Super Prix at Snetterton has certainly been entertaining. 5 fantastic races and 4 different winners in Division 1. I can't wait for the third one next year. But for the British Truck Racing Association, they move on and we'll go with them later in the year. From now, take care.
Next time on Last Lap, action from the Mighty Mini and Super Mighty Mini Championships from Alton Park. Join us then.